I'd like to welcome you back to another episode of Beyond the Fit podcast, the place where you come for motivation, inspiration, uplifting, and overall positive message. I'm your host, DJ. And I was having a conversation with one of my friends the other day, and we were just talking about, just relationships, our relationships with people, not just romantic, just relationships, period, with people. And he's kind of going through a situation with somebody he's been very close with for a very long time. And he's just so reluctant to let that friendship go, even though that friendship has caused him a lot of harm, has caused him a lot of pain, has caused them a lot of loss, has just been very negative lately. And we were just talking, and I was just asking him, like, why is letting that friendship go such a big thing? He's like, man, we just been close for so long, and just been cool for this amount of years, and I don't even know what, in my adult years, I don't know what it's like to not have this person around me, to not be in a friendship with this person, to not have this person around, and things like that. And I'm just like, so for me, it was, I just asked him, so he's just like, this person is just a comfort for you. This person is something that just makes things comfortable. He may not do anything else for you, but besides, hey, I don't know what life is like, especially as an adult, without this person. This person's been around so long. This person is just here. He may not do anything in a positive for me, and we know for a fact he does something in the negative, um, in your life, at least as of right now. Again, not because he's a bad person, but just because of what you're trying to do, where you're trying to go, and where he is in life, and what he may be trying to do, and where he might be trying to go. They just don't connect. And so, again, not making him a bad person, but just making y'all relationship at this moment maybe a bad fit. And so we're just talking, and that's just kind of what I got from it, was just, hey, he's just a comfort for you. Having him around is a comfort. It's not that you necessarily need him. It's not that, like, right now where you're trying to go, you have to be in a very purposeful mindset. You got to make sure that you're surrounding yourself, at least for the most part, with people who are very purposeful. And he's just where he is right now. Again, not making him a bad person. He's just not. He doesn't fit that description. So y'all butt heads a lot because he's so used to doing things a certain way. You're trying to get out of doing things a certain way because you realize doing things a certain way has just gotten you a certain result. You don't want that certain result anymore. You want something else. You want something more, and that's okay. He's clearly fine with where he is right now, and that's okay. Both ideas, both mindsets are okay. But now you have to become okay with the idea that you may have to start to let him go, or just hang out less. Nobody's saying be done with him, but you may have to hang out less. You may have to dedicate less of your time. You may have to be willing to sacrifice all that time that you spend with him, because, again, while you're around him, you don't have the right mindset that you need to get to where you want to be. He doesn't mind staying in the mindset that he's in because he enjoys where he is right now. Perfectly fine. You realize that you don't. You realize that you want more. You realize that you want change. So that includes changing your mindset, changing your environment, changing the people that you choose to be around the most. That comes with it, and that's okay. And I was just, so that's really the message for this episode. It's like, it's okay for change. It's okay to let some friendships go. It's okay if some friends start to pull back because they need to go and do other things. Like, if y'all have that type of friendship where y'all can talk about it and y'all can discuss it, because you may see them drifting further and further away, and y'all can have that conversation without it getting personal, and you can hear them and they can hear you, then have those conversations. But if you can't, or if you know that if you know that either you or that person isn't in the place where y'all can talk comfortably, then you got to handle it how you got to handle it. Of course, again, you want to try to keep the friendship intact as much as possible, but you got to do what's best for you. You can't be afraid of pushing away a little bit. And again, that doesn't mean completely being done with the friendship or being done with the bond completely, but that does mean that, hey, if you realize that where you are right now isn't where you want to be, and you understand the mindset that you have right now isn't going to get you where you want to be, and you understand the environments that you're in or the people that you're surrounding yourself with aren't going to help you get you to where you want to be, doesn't mean that they're bad people, doesn't mean that that's a bad situation. It just means that it's not conducive to helping you grow. It's not going to help you multiply. It's not going to help you elevate. And you have to realize that, and you have to make that difference between these are bad people, this is a bad situation, and hey, these are still good people. I just want something different than where I am right now. This is a cool environment, but it's not conducive to where I want to be. There's a difference, you know what I'm saying? Because there's a difference between you looking at your life and realize, okay, this person is just a bad person. This person is a negative person. This person is a hateful person. They don't do anything positive. They're not trying to be positive. They just want to stay in this negativity. They want to stay in this and that. And they just do nothing good. They bring nothing positive to my life. They don't um help me. They're not there for me. They're not this, they're not that. They don't show up for me. That's one thing. It's something totally different when if it's just, hey, where I'm trying to go, I got to elevate my mindset. I have to think more about this. I have to think more of going in this direction because I know that this mindset, I know that this type of environments, I know these type of people who are already in those spaces that I'm trying to get to. That's because that's where I want to be. Those are the type of people that I need to hang around. Doesn't mean that you're bad. It just means that where I'm trying to go, I need to be focused here. You know what I'm saying? Those are two totally different things. And that's what I was trying to get him to understand. It doesn't make your friend a bad person. It doesn't make you a bad person for wanting more. It doesn't make him a bad person for wanting to stay where he is and enjoying where he is in life. He may have worked hard. Who knows what it took for him to get to where he is right now? You know what I'm saying? To get to where he is right now, he may have had to elevate and leave some people behind or some mindsets behind because they weren't conducive to getting him to where he is right now. I don't know. You may know. I don't know. But it's okay to just, again, if y'all had a type of relationship, have that conversation with him and let him know, hey, I'm trying to get here, and part of me getting there is, hey, I got to spend less time over here and more time in these type of spaces and in these type of environments around these type of people to get to where I want to be. You know what I'm saying? And that's perfectly okay. Now how he takes it and how the people take it when you have these conversations is something totally different, because they may hear it a certain way, they may receive it a certain way. But there's nothing wrong with you saying to yourself, hey, I'm trying to get to a certain place. I'm trying to get to a certain thing. I want my life to look a certain way. And realizing that you got to surround yourself with people who do that. You got to surround yourself with people who live that. That's their day to day. They going through it every single day. So you can start to see what life is like at that level or in those spaces. You can start to see, the day to day, what it takes, what it requires, not just to get there, but to stay there. So I think the one of the easiest examples, if you want to be married, you need to start getting around me. You need to start meeting some married people, getting around, some married friends, so you can see what marriage looks like on a day to day, not the fantasy that some TV shows, some cartoons, things like that. Not the fantasy that they sell you. And again, I'm not saying that it's not that there aren't beautiful things in marriages, but like anything, there's good and there's bad, there's light and there's dark. So you have your honeymoon phase, and then you have, once you get in the year, whatever, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how long a honeymoon phase starts, but then you can see that, you know what I'm saying? So you can start to pull behind the curtain and really see what goes on in a marriage, because it's easy for a couple to show you the beautiful side, right? But then when they get behind closed doors, you don't know what they do to get to that space. And so get around people who are married so you can start to see that, okay, this is what it takes. It does take compromise. It does take sacrifice. It does take hard work. It does take forgiveness. You know what I'm saying? It takes a lot of things to make that marriage work. You know what I'm saying? But you would know that if you're not seeing it, if you're not around people who talk about it, this is their everyday. These are the things that they go through. You have to start to see it. That doesn't mean that you stop hanging with your single friends completely, but you realize the importance of getting over here. So where you're getting a look at things, you're getting information. These are wonderful resources for where you're trying to go in life, and and your single friends, again, they can be a resource, but if they're not trying to do, or they're not trying to go where you're trying to go, and then, you know what I'm saying, and they're not trying to do what you're trying to do, again, that's okay. Nothing's wrong with that. But for where you're trying to go, you need to be more in line with people who are where you're trying to go, or people who are also trying to get to where you're trying to go. You know what I'm saying? But again, you got to find that balance. It may not be 50-50 anymore. You may need to do 60-40, 70-30 on, more towards, hanging out with married people. If you want to be a lawyer, same thing. You just got to hang out with the people and surround yourself with the people who understand, where you're trying to go, what it takes to get there. Again, it doesn't mean you forget about those people. Doesn't mean that you stop hanging completely with those people, and unless you just have to. Again, unless that's just a super negative situation, and that's providing you no type of support, no type of love, no type of anything. You know what I'm saying? If you're not getting anything positive from over there, then of course, you know what I'm saying, you might need to cut that off completely. But if you do get love and support, but you just understand, hey, I need something else to help me get to where I'm trying to go, then okay. But again, that doesn't mean you have to cut that person off. And that's what I was just trying to get him to understand, is that doesn't mean that you have to cut them off completely. You just may have to remove yourself a little bit more to make more time for what you're trying to do. You know that you're trying to get to these spaces, and I was telling them, you're also a family man. This person isn't. This person has shown you several times that they don't understand, or they can get upset at times with the level of attention, I guess I should say. I don't know what else to word it. The level of attention that you give to your family. This person sometimes gets upset when you choose to be with your family over hanging out with him. And it's just like, again, I don't know the person. I just know some of the things that I'm being told, and it's like, I'm not saying that that person isn't a good person. Don't know him, but what I'm saying is he's also showing you he doesn't understand where you're trying to go. You're trying to be a family man, and he at times doesn't understand that. Again, doesn't make him a bad person, but it just showing you that, hey, y'all are going in different directions when it comes to certain parts of life. Now it's other parts, like when it's time to talk sports, when it's time to talk music, hey, y'all can be lock and step because y'all know y'all like the similar y'all have similar mindsets when it comes to sports and music. So in certain areas of your life, yeah, because it makes sense. Y'all think alike. Y'all like the same type of music. Y'all like the same type of sports. Y'all may have different views on sports. You know what I'm saying? So it creates a healthy debate, discussion. Y'all get to talk and stuff like that. But in other areas of life, y'all are just couldn't be further apart. And again, I'm gonna continue to say this because I had to continue to say it to him, because it's, sometimes you got to remind people that's okay. You know what I'm saying? It's okay that in certain parts of life, certain aspects of life, certain areas of life, y'all are just growing apart. You know what I'm saying? You have a family, your family is growing, and that's more of what you want. He doesn't, you know what I'm saying? And he's okay with that. That's more of what he wants. So in certain areas, so when it comes to family time and when it comes to priorities, y'all are going to have discrepancies. Y'all are going to have differences, you know what I'm saying? Because your life is taking you in a certain direction, and you're taking your life. You want your life to go in a certain direction. He wants his life to go in another. Both directions are perfectly fine for, each individual, but understanding that, hey, that may mean I may have to take time away from this friendship to focus on my family. And that's okay. Nothing's wrong with that. Again, he may not receive it well, but that doesn't make you wrong for wanting it. That doesn't make you wrong for bringing it up. That doesn't make you wrong for realizing that that's what you need for you, because sometimes you have to sacrifice. Because sometimes, and I've learned this because sometimes people are just anchors holding you back. I've had people in my life who held me back. I've also been the person to hold people back. And it's not always a pleasant thing to hear that you're holding somebody back from their potential, but you may be, because somebody may be so, or you may be so into someone that you're not doing what you need to do for you. Or somebody may be so into you that they're not doing what they need to do for themselves. And that's bad. Both situations are bad. And sometimes when you can separate from each other, now that your attention or their attention is no longer on that other person, you can spend more time on yourself. They can spend more time on themselves, and they can start to grow, and they can start to get better, and they can start unlocking things that they weren't unlocking before because they were too busy paying attention to someone else. So sometimes that separation is a good thing. And I know that, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't always sound good. And none of us want to be the bad guy, but you have to understand that it's all about perception. There are going to be people, when you have these type of conversations, when you do start to make the move back, who are going to see it as a negative thing, who are going to see you as a bad person. But understand, you're taking steps that you need to for your life and for your future and for the things that you want to do. Now, again, I think in the best case scenario, if y'all have a relationship, y'all have a friendship, y'all have a bond that's strong enough to handle tough conversations, and y'all can get stronger from the tough conversations, then have the tough conversations and let them know, hey, where I'm trying to go, I gotta I gotta spend more time here. So for me personally, what I'm trying to do, I have to spend more time in the gym. I have to spend more time really locking in with the on this podcasting thing. I have to spend more time with meal prep. I have to spend more time really honing what I need to hone mentally, emotionally, physically, to get my body where I want to be. You know what I'm saying? And also to get this podcast where it wants to be. I have to lock in, and I know that I would have to make certain sacrifices on when it comes to my time, and people would have to be okay with that. You know what I'm saying? And that's just something that doesn't make me bad. I'm trying to do something with my life. You're trying to do something with your life. And it's okay if what I'm trying to do means that I have to spend less time here. I have to spend less time with with this person. That's just a part of it. That's a part of, once you realize what you want to do, where you're trying to go. And or even if you don't know, you just know, I don't want to keep doing this. I want my life to be more than this. Even if I don't know what I want it to be, I just know that the path that I'm on, the level that I'm on, I want to change them. I want to change my path so I can change my level. Even if it's just that, off the very rip, okay, in order for something to change, I have to change. In order to get the results that I want, something has to change. Because if I keep doing what I've been doing, I'm going to get what I've always gotten. So if I want something new, I have to do something new. If I want to go in a new direction, I have to now turn, pivot, change the direction that I'm facing so I can go in a new direction. If I want to get to new levels, I got to start doing things that'll help me level up. That's just natural. That's normal. It is what it is. So think about it from that perspective. You're trying to go in a new direction. You're trying to get onto a new path. You're trying to go to a new level, whatever the case may be. You just know you don't want to keep doing this because you don't want next year to come roll around and you're still in the same situation, doing the same thing with the same people and still getting the same results that you're not happy with now. You know what I'm saying? Now, maybe something happens and you're now content with this life. Maybe you lose some things and you realize, okay, what I had wasn't bad. And that's okay too. Again, that may be going back to my conversation, that may be the situation that the friend is in, that he may have lost some things and realized, man, hey, where I was, let me get me back there. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the other side of things. You know what I'm saying? You don't know how many people are praying for your position. You don't know how many people are working to get to where you are. You don't know how many people are asking God for the things that you have, because you may have good health. You may have a roof over your head. You may have a reliable car to get you to and from work. You may have AC during the summer, heat during the winter. You know what I'm saying? A place where you can go and simply flush a toilet and not think about where am I going to go when I have to boo boo. You know what I'm saying? These are things that, that we can take for granted, you know what I'm saying? So you may be in a position of luxury in someone else's eyes. Someone else may see what you do, or at least part of what you do. They don't know what you've been through to get there, and they may be jealous of you, or they may realize, okay, they may be even inspired by, hey, I want to get to that space. I want to get to a space where where I go to work and I'm just smiling. Maybe you're and the person and you as the person who just go to work and you always smiling, you always in a good mood, you may be going through some things, but you don't let that stop you. You don't let that stop you from smiling. You don't let that stop you from giving a positive attitude. You don't let that stop you from, giving people positive energy. And that's a beautiful place to be in. And no one knows the amount of work that it took you to get to that space. So if if you're that person who's in that space, you work so hard to get to where you want to be, and you're now content with where your life is because maybe financially, socially, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, you're in a good space. You've gone through the ringer. You know what I'm saying? You've went 12 rounds. Life has put you through 12 rounds of just hell. And now you're finally in a space where in all these areas of your life, you're content. You're happy. You're doing the things that you want to do. You got the things that you pray for. You may have your home now. You may have your spouse. You got your kids. You have your financials together. You know what I'm saying? You're financially secure to the point where you're even starting to invest, to where you have money laying around at any given time to, go take a trip, whatever. You just may be in a space where you're comfortable and you're happy with where you are in life. That's a beautiful thing. There's nothing wrong with that. But your friend may say, hey, I'm in a space where I want something more. There's nothing wrong with that. So that's what I was trying to get my friend to understand, is there's nothing wrong with him wanting to be where he is because maybe he's worked his butt off to get there. There's nothing wrong with you saying, hey, this where I am right now, I want more. I want to get to the next level. I want to get further ahead in life, whatever the case may be. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, in order for me to get there, I have to spend more time there. I have to spend more of my focus and my energy over here. And I have to make sacrifices in other areas of my life when it comes to my time. And that may be an area where I have to sacrifice. There's nothing wrong with that. That does not make that person a bad person. That just means that y'all want two different things out of life. And you understand that you may have to spend less time over there and more time somewhere else. And again, hopefully they understand that when y'all have that conversation, and hopefully y'all have a strong enough bond to be able to have those real conversations and still make it through that. But stop being afraid of having those conversations and stop being afraid of having to let people go if where you're trying to go, if even you saying you're trying to go somewhere and it's now the vibe is off and now the energy is different because you want more, they may be offended by the fact that you want more because in their minds they may be hearing, oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, you think you're better than me. I'm gonna tell again, this is just my personal opinion. I'm not gonna tell you what to do with your life, but for me, what I realize is like you got to get away from those type of people, because any type of person that makes you feel bad for wanting more and for trying to grow and for trying to do better, they don't want what's best for you. Now it's totally different if you want better for you. You wanting better for yourself is perfectly fine. One of the things where I had to learn where I messed up is once you start to get better, you also want better for the people around you. But if they're not ready for that, and it's perfectly fine if they're not, again, we've talked about that. If they don't want better for themselves, then you have to respect that. You be the good friend, and you know what I'm saying, and realize, okay, they don't want this right now. They're in that space where this is good for them. Okay, love them there. Love them where they are. You know what I'm saying? If this is where they like to be, if this is their comfort zone, be the best friend that you can be for them while without having to sacrifice who you are and where you're trying to go. Excuse me. And that was a skill that I had to learn, is to love the people that I love where they are, even if I see things because of what I'm going through and because it's changing the way I see things and it's changing the way that I'm viewing things and how, going to therapy has helped me. Naturally, you want to give that to the people that you care about. Naturally, you want to see the people that you love elevate, but you have to also understand that again, you don't know what they've been through, or maybe you do know what they've been through to get to where they are now. And you're not thinking about that because you're thinking about where they could be, where they could go. And it's like now you're trying to impose what you want for them on them. And you're telling them that what they want for themselves isn't enough. And that's where I messed up. I can get on here and I can own that. That's where I failed as a friend because I wasn't loving, my friends where they were. You know what I'm saying? Just because I've started to remove that emotional and that trauma veil from my eyes. And now that's helping me to see the world from this different perspective. Doesn't mean that everybody else is ready to. Doesn't mean that I can't throw ideas out there. Doesn't mean that I can't say, hey, this is an example of XYZ that I learned in therapy. Cool. But at the end of the day, I still got to love the person where they are. And mind you, loving them may be two different, maybe all types of things. Loving them may be, hey, giving them the distance. I can love you from a distance. You want to be right there. Hey, I love that for you. I'm finna go do this because I know that me continuing to do this is just going to hurt me. So let me go change my mindset. Let me go change my views. Let me go do what I need to do to get to where I want to be. I still love you, but if that's where you want to be, cool. I'm never going to try to change that. And I think that that's what I had to learn. I had to learn to love people where they are instead of trying to, because in my mind, I'm thinking I'm helping, but in their minds, it's like, why are you trying to change me? Why can't you just love me for who I am? Why can't you just respect the decisions that I've made? Why can't you just be happy for me? Because and I worked my butt off to get here to this place. And now you're trying to force me or tell me that I don't love myself or whatever the case may be, because I'm not doing it with the way you want to do it. I'm not doing it at the pace that you're doing it. And I had to realize, you know what? They're right. Just love them where they are. So that's also another piece of advice. Just love that. Just telling my friend, love him where he is. If this is where he is, he worked his butt off to get here, and this is where he's happy. Love him there. Let him be there and love him where he is. You go do what you need to do, and hopefully he'll return that love. Like, hey, bro, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm happy right here, but I see you elevating. I see you growing, bro. I'm proud of you. Keep doing your thing. And that's a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can love each other from a distance. It doesn't have to be a hateful thing. It doesn't have to be a negative thing. It doesn't have to be a, hey, I'm better than you. Because that person could be at peace where they are. Because again, they fought through their demons. They may have fought through addiction. They may have fought through all types of stuff to get to where they are, and they're at peace. They don't need the whole world. They got their little piece of the pie and they're happy. And that's a beautiful place to be in. You're wanting more. Okay. You're driven. You're motivated. You're pushing. That's a beautiful place to be in. One isn't less than the other. They're both beautiful places to be in. And and that's something that even I had to realize, you know what I'm saying, is that, hey, it's a beautiful place. When you find people, you find that person who at this job for 20 years, but that job, hey, when I was down and didn't have nothing, they called me and I've been working here and they've been doing right by me ever since. I've been able to get like, buy the house, buy this, buy that. I've been able to live my best life. I can give back and all of this stuff. They're just in a place of peace. That is a beautiful place to be in. I don't care if the job is, I don't care what the job is, McDonald's, whatever. They are at peace. They found peace because they know what life was like before McDonald's. They know that they may have been in the gutter, not having a place to stay, things like that. Now that they found that, that's their peace. Let them have that. That's a beautiful place to be in. That's not something to look down on, because that's something to aspire to, where you get to a place where you're happy, you're at peace with life, because in every single phase, or at least in most of the phases of your life, you're fulfilled. They found something that makes them feel fulfilled and they're happy with that. They're at peace with that. That is a beautiful thing. And you wanting more is also a beautiful thing, especially if you're putting in the work to get more. You're putting in the work to get to where you want to be, you're really motivated and you're pushing yourself to grow. That's a beautiful thing. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to push others, but they have to want to push. If they show you that they don't want to push, don't be mad about it. Love them where they are, because they have their own process to go to. Because I'm pretty sure there was a time in life where somebody around you was pushing for more and you wasn't ready to be pushed. And you just wanted somebody to love you where you are. You wanted somebody to just respect the fact that, hey, this is where I am, this is where I want to be. And so, again, that's one of the places where I know for me, I fell short, because in my mind, I'm going to therapy and I'm learning so much about myself. And it's just like, oh, I want everybody else. Therapy is one of the best things. And it is. And I still feel that way. And I still want, my friends and my family who are struggling with things to go to therapy and help themselves. But I also understand, hey, if they're not ready for therapy, or if they don't see therapy as the answer for them, I can respect that, because that's their decision. Because I know there was a time when I didn't see therapy as an option. I didn't see therapy as something realistically that I wanted to do. And, it was okay. I got there on my own time. Maybe they'll get there. Maybe they won't. But regardless of whether they get there or not, I'm still going to love them where they are. I may not love everything they do, but I'm going to do my best to love them. And if that means that sometimes I got to distance myself, but still show love from a distance, then I'll do that. You know what I'm saying? And again, that was something I had to learn, that I'm capable of doing that. I'm capable of loving people from a distance. I don't just have to love people from a close proximity. I can expand that space, but still show the same amount of love that I did back then, but just giving myself and giving both of us that barrier of space that we need, you know what I'm saying, to love each other. Because when that proximity gets close, then that love gets a little harder, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes the best thing for people is to love people from a distance. But man, that's it for today's episode. I hope that y'all got something from it. But I want to thank everybody for listening on whatever platforms y'all are listening to the podcast on. I appreciate the love. Please continue to listen, continue to download. Y'all have comments, please leave them. If you want me to talk about a certain topic, or at least my viewpoint on a certain topic, please let me know. And the same thing to anybody watching on YouTube, leaving in the comments if you have something that you would like me to discuss. And again, just for the people who are on YouTube, continue to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And thank y'all for the love and support that y'all have been showing me. And until the next time we meet, y'all stay blessed.